Good afternoon, uh, and say hello to all hockey and basketball fans. So, what I would do is just check in a little bit on the Raptors and the Canada's only NBA team, see how they're doing. And yes, it's when I look at the standings. The Raptors have won two in a row, but in all fairness, they're not doing too well. Sorry if I can't read it, but basically, the Raptors are a game behind Chicago Bulls for the final play-in spot. But still, that does not mean the Raptors are any good. 5 games below 500 versus 3 for the Hawks. So yeah, so it's Raptors have played 49 games. So that is among those teams that are under 20 games back of first in the East. Um, but well, but that are still below sixth. Not well, kind of like about on the upper end. So yeah, it's what I need to do is all right. All right, never mind. So should we talk? I don't know. Then I'll also now go to the NHL standings, see how various Canadian teams have been doing. You can see, just gonna do there. Yeah. Apologize for. I can't see you there, but the Leafs, with 2 wins in a row and a 5 game point streak, are second in their own division. 15 behind, 15 ahead, excuse me, of the Buffalo Sabres for a top 3 divisional spot. They're 7 ahead of the Lightning for second, but again, anything can happen. You can drop to there, drop below, and yeah, Senators are competitive. Well, the Habs are too. I mean, sure beats what how the Canucks are doing. So, with 45 and 43 respective points, neither Eastern Canadian team is 9 or fewer points out of a playoff spot. Indeed, Sens are 11 out, tied with Pens and Capitals for, with the spot, the final playoff spot, with 56 points. Currently occupied, second wildcard spot occupied the Caps in terms of games played at 50 to 47 for the Pens. Well, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. If there'll be a fourth team from the Atlantic that ends up making it, well, it's kind of a tight race between between the Sabres and Panthers. The Wings are a little bit further back, 48 points. Sens and Habs are a little bit further back than that, but it's not really much of a hope that I have either of those. Will there be a day when Canadian teams end up making it in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Yes. Just going to recap what the Western standings are. So, let's see here. Yeah. Whoa, the Canucks are bad. oh. Jets ended up being beat by the Preds in regulation. Not great performances over the last end. Well, we have 4 losses on regulation, but again, it was a close one. Yeah. yeah. The Jets' offense has gone kind of to sleep. I'm not sure what, but again, it does help. But 9 points out, 9 points behind, 9 points ahead of the Minnesota Wild in that top 3 divisional spot, and 8 ahead of the Avs for second. It's interesting times in the Central because we have among teams in the mix. We have in terms of the Central, We have the Avs, Wild, Preds, and Blues. Blues are kind of fading a little bit. 49 points in 48 games. So it could be a little bit of a climb up. But I wouldn't count the Blues out just yet in terms of getting that into that third spot in the Central and thus a guaranteed playoff spot. And yes, the Oilers, the Oilers are kind of 3 points out of a top, out of a top spot in the Pacific. But again, Kraken have their own ideas, so what could you do? Flames play tonight, but they're vulnerable. And yeah, well, I'm just gonna go to recap. All right, I'm gonna just go to Wednesday games. There were 5 in action. All one of them having featured a Canadian team. Lighting is not that good. I tried my best to make it good, but there's lots of sunlight and the blinds on my right and behind me let in a lot of light. But that's good for the daytime because light improves the mood. So we're now going to go to the Thursday games. See, and there are 9 games. All right, let's see here. How many feature Canadian teams? I'm just going to go to. All right, 1, 2, 3. 3 featuring Canadian teams. So all 3 Canadian teams that are in action, the Habs, Jets, and Flames, will be hosting. Will be hosts. Will be playing home ones. So it's going to be rather important for the Flames to win because, well, they are vulnerable. Just a point out. Let's see what they are here. The Minnesota Wild will be out of action. But the Preds will be in action. And a loss by the Flames could mean the Preds and Wild end up being each as much as a point behind the Flames. So that's not going to be very good. The Canucks, we'll get to a little bit more later, have lost 8 all in regulation of their last 10. And and are so far back that they are over a dozen out of a wild card spot. They're even 8 back of the St. Louis Blues for a top 5 spot in the wild card race. In other words, teams that are below third in either division in the Western Conference. So, what I would do now is head over to TSN Hockey and there's news about get out here about Sam Montembeault and about Jake Allen, the Habs being back in net for a game against the Wings. I'll say more about the Kuzmenko contract a little bit later. And yes, the Sens have struggled to score. Although when it comes to the Connor Bedard race, Canucks have a point percentage of 42.7. The Habs are have point percentage of 44.8. The Sens 47.9. So when it comes to the Bedard race, where did they go here? The Canucks appear to be among those Canadian teams that are not in playoff spots the most likely to draft Bedard. That's even though the Sens could sure use a Bedard type because of a lack of scoring. And yes, you have the Leafs. You have their thanks to Marner in not even a minute into overtime against the Rangers, extend the Leafs' own point streak to 5 games and win streak to 2. It's been the Oilers are on a 7-game point streak, having earned 13 out of a possible 14 points. Yet, as I say a little bit later, The Oilers didn't exactly show up often enough against the Blue Jackets. So, more on that a little bit later. So, it's from Kenzie Long to TSN. They're over there. And, alright, so what was the last time Calgary Flames played? So that was Tuesday. Or was it? GB. Alright, let's go back to GB Monday. Flames barely squeaked through against Blue Jackets in overtime. And, alright, I'm going to go to teams. We're going to see about various teams on Sportsnet. So, alright. Sort of technical difficulties. So, the Calgary Flames, see how they've been doing lately. Alright, there we go. Earlier in the season, the Flames lost 7 games, earning 2 points in those. And they ended up, that was from October to mid-November. And then in December, the Flames ended up losing 5 games, earning 3 points. So, yeah. Flames are in 5th in Pacific. Alright, so. Yeah, so let's see here. Just going to go to the schedule here of the Calgary Flames. See how they've been doing. And it's been kind of a mixed bag. As you can see here, it's been kind of a mixed bag. There have been no losses in overtime or shootouts at any point this month, so it's been, yeah. Well, the Flames have 5 wins. They also have 5 losses. So on this evening, there'll be a back-to-back hosting the Hawks on later Thursday Eastern time, but going to play in Seattle against the local Kraken squad on Friday. They're going to have to be on the ball because they are vulnerable. The Hawks should be a relatively easy team to beat, but again, ask the Canucks. Ask a Canucks squad that ended up getting a rather slow start against the Hawks before bouncing back and winning. So yes. We'll go back to TSN here. And, alright, so. Winnipeg Jets haven't exactly fairly deep year. Top Vezina candidate. And we have a trade with the Avs. Just blow it up. Well. Let's go to. Alright, Jay McLennan goes by Newell's TSN circles, and in addition to being a hockey analyst for SportsCenter, and a color commentator for various Sens games broadcast on TSN, is also a co-host of Overdrive 1050, the late afternoon show broadcast on Toronto radio station TSN 1050, having made claims about the OT magic by Mitch Marner of the Leafs, and a sloppy loss by the Oilers, and yeah, that rout by the Kraken over the Canucks. So first, the Oilers against the Blue Jackets. Well, yeah, last weekend, Leafs fans may recall, against the Habs squad, Leafs players just didn't show up that well. Well, it was 2-0 lead, first period, then Leafs kind of let up too much, and, well, Rem Pitlick ending up having scored. Alright, I'm going to go to... I should go with that game here. I'm just going to figure out... Well, Leafs did win their game in overtime, not even a minute in. Pitlick, Leafs... Oh, sorry about that. Pitlick, Leafs, hate this. Pitlick. Okay, so it's a bit over 2 minutes into overtime of that game on Saturday. Thanks to Rem Pitlick. Habs. It's an overtime goal, first in his career. That ended the matter. The Leafs end up taking a tie game in overtime. And, well, yes, I know in the postseason, overtime is a gamble. On the other hand, overtime gets a point, earns a team that loses a point. All right, so we go to the Oilers' sloppy effort against Blue Jackets. So what was that? Yeah. All right. So, yeah, Skinner allowed an ugly goal in that overtime frame. I have to look at the highlights, the overtime highlights on Sportsnet, but all right. So what happened here? So, all right. So Kent Johnson from ex-Flame College, from ex-Flames, Johnny Gaudreau, and Eric Goodbranson. So that was a bit under 2.5 minutes in. So about halfway into overtime, it was game over. The Oilers walked away with a point, but it could have been better. I mean, the Oilers, let off the gas in a big way in the first period. Well, Boone Jenner from Boakfist and Line put the Blue Jackets ahead. That was it for scoring for first period. Second period, it was Oilers on a roll. Well, you can call that 2 goals, and then the Oilers let up, and yeah, the Oilers did score on the power play. Well, they had only one. The Oilers also took very few penalties, which is a surprise because of the Oilers' lack of speed, with physical winger Evander Kane out of the lineup for a lengthy stretch. He did have to appear in court in California, so by the time the court appearance was over, it was game on, or at least it wouldn't have been easy for him to reach the nearest available airport and fly into Edmonton and get all ready and all. It would have taken too long, and he was out. He was out of the lineup, and what could he do? I predicted, it was in that live stream on Leafs Talk, that it was going to be interesting to find out how the Oilers were going to perform without Evander Kane in the lineup, and that physicality that he had brought so many times in so many games in which he played for that team, for that Alberta team. Well, we find out the result. It didn't go that well. All right, so I go to. Yeah, I don't follow all teams. Unlike the Hockey Guy YouTube man based on Lower Mainland of British Columbia, but yes, I'm just gonna go and see what the score line is. Yeah, so there's some pluses, one minus, a couple of minuses, 3 different minuses. Korpisalo, who ended up playing like a Shesterkin, having stopped 94.4% of all pucks all shots he faced. Face-offs, not great for the Blue Jackets, but what can you do? And it comes to Skinner, definitely allowed an ugly goal. But when it comes to face-offs, Nugent Hopkins came up huge. 5 out of 8 face-offs. 5 face-offs he ended up winning out of 8 that he took. Ron McLeod, Draisaitl, Derek Ryan. Let's see how many face-offs the Oilers took. So see what the face-offs were. The Oilers dominated the face-off circle. All right, so that's basically. let's see how the Oilers did. It was kind of a mix. So we have goals by what is it here? Hyman and Derek Ryan. Connor McDavid, a whole bunch of minuses. Draisaitl was pointless. He had a -2. And just to recap, special teams were good for the Oilers. Indeed, I looked at the score sheet, and neither team scored a shorthanded goal on the other. But it's not exactly surprising, because there seem to be very few goals scored on the PK by the team killing the penalty. But the Oilers, well, definitely killed off 2 shorthand situations. There are only 2. All penalties were minors. A hook penalty called on Darnell Nurse, a cross check called Johnny Gaudreau, and a trip called on Brett Kulak. So yeah, so they're there. So sloppy play ended up doing the Oilers in. But when it comes to the Canucks, oh boy. One of my first posts, well, game over Vancouver. Alright, so we're going to go to Alright, so what I'm going to do what I would do is go to, before I go to the Canucks, what I would do is alright, so go to here, the chat replay. Don't do anything stupid. Alright, so alright, no. Alright, so let's see here. Oops. So where's that post about Evander Kane? It's kind of a little bit back there. Alright. I'm going to try to go and alright, let's see where they are. Alright, forget really. It was quite a bit ways into that segment of Leafs Talk. So just try to find that particular clip, that particular post made. I don't know. It's well over 12 minutes in here. I did compare Riley to Darnell Nurse of the Oilers. Let's see how we do here. Oh, wait. So not even, a bit under 15 minutes in, we have this. So, do the comment here. Oh wait, where's that? There. Oh, see the light here. So, I apologize if I don't get it right. But so I made a comment about how the Oilers were going to do against the Blue Jackets without physical winger Evander Kane in the lineup. Well, the Oilers got a point, but it could have been better. So now I'm going to go into, I forget. All right, game over Vancouver. Game over Vancouver. All right, so Canucks, Seattle Kraken. Canucks and Seattle Kraken. Yeah, that was pretty bad, folks. If it was going to be as simple as just flicking on off a light switch, change the coach from Rick Tocchet from Bruce Boudreau, and all the cheers of Bruce, there it is, last weekend's game, which was a loss, close one to the Oilers. Well, yeah, I wish Rick Tocchet well in his coaching career with Canucks, but again, even calling that timeout didn't do much of anything to spark a team that had pretty much lost sight of the game, and well, it was a disaster. 6-1 to a much better Seattle Kraken. Alright, so before I get started, before I go, I'm not going to play the whole intro, I'm not going to even play it. So look at the top comment there. I do apologize if lighting's not that good, but just going to reread it. Alright, man, that was a blowout! Canucks D sucks, and it'll take more than a change in coaching staff to remake this team so it can compete against teams such as the Kraken. Well, another comment said, Canucks, who's some sort of Fox Sports reference to the team. Get the pronunciation wrong, but whatever. The Canucks suck. And yeah, David McLennan made that claim about the Canucks. All right, so I'm gonna go to. And also have the Kuzmenko signing 2 seasons for a total cap hit of $11 million. I don't know how the Canucks are going to be able to afford fit that under the cap, but well, what can you do? Onward sold Kuzmenko in Vancouver. Well, I thought I would do is what there. Oh. There wasn't really anything good get out of that game other than perhaps maybe exposed to ownership and management of the need to make big changes to the blue line. Because it's going to be just a simple retool. It's not. I mean, this was a really bad effort defensively. So, will there be even one Canuck player with a... Alright, so it was bad enough the Kraken scored 2 goals against the Canucks PK. Let's just see the goals here. Canucks never had a lead, and well, but pretty much the goal scoring was over by the 3rd minute. Kind of slowed down a little bit, after the Canucks scored, but my God, these Canucks just suck. I haven't listened to the post game show yet, but all right. So let's see how the Kraken did. The numbers. were pretty good. Not even one player on the Kraken had a -2. Had a plus minus of underneath 0. Martin Jones stopped 95% of all shots he faced. Well, only one went through him. There were 4 players for the Kraken, all of them centers, who took faceoffs. And only one of them, Yanni Gourde, ended up losing over half of them. Because the Canucks, it's kind of been a mixed bag. Well, only one player, well, 2, but only one who ended up taking at least 2 faceoffs ended up winning at least half of them. And that was Bo Horvat. And yeah, not very good. And yeah, faceoffs. Yeah. Hits the Canucks dominated. But oh boy, there was a lot of red ink. Those players that had -2s or worse, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, also known as OEL, Bo Horvat, -2, Kuzmenko, -3, Mikheyev, Myers, Bearson, Petty, -2s, and Sven Martin, yeah, was roughed up. He allowed 6 goals on 35 shots. It was not a good night for him, but then again, his teammates let him down. Other than, well, perhaps Colin Delia, who, well, didn't get to see action at all. So it's hard to pin the loss on Delia because, well, he wasn't used. So, yeah. It's pretty bad, folks. So, in terms of where the Canucks go from here, let's see how many games they play before the All-Star break. Because, man, oh man, is the defense a mess. All these contracts and all. Before I go, I thought I would do is... Alright, where do I go here? Let's go see if I can get the... Alright, so we're going to go to... We're going to go to cap-friendly Canucks. So... By the beginning of the 2023-24 regular season, the Canucks are going to have to be compliant with the cap, which for that particular season is $83.5 million. Will be $83.5 million US dollars, unless the so-called escrow from the pandemic, from the COVID pandemic, is completely paid off by the end of the season. Who knows if that's going to happen? So I'm going to see if I can get the... Oops. I do apologize there. Not sure what's going on with there. Oh. Alright, so just... Peter doing funny things. So what I'm going to do is going to try to substitute that with... Alright. Getting all these tangled wires. I hate this. Alright, I'm going to shut this down. So I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to get the cap-friendly stats for the Canucks. I have to think about what else I want to say. Alright. So I was going to go with the cap-friendly stats. Cap-friendly Canucks. Alright, so restore that. let's just see here. Here, the Canucks have under $1 million cap of available cap space. And you see who's on LTIR. Well, we have Mikhail Furland, and Tucker Poolman. So let's see here. And William Lockwood. But the biggies are Thatch Demko and Tanner Pearson. I don't know why neither is on long-term injured reserve, but because Pearson is out for the season. Because it should be more, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be that way. Well, for next season, we have for 2 seasons before taking into account free agents. So the cap hit for forwards is currently up $300,000 from this season. Although in terms of defense, goaltending, it's defense is significantly lower, it's quite a bit lower. Alright, so just gonna see. Yeah, so yeah. Basically the Canucks do not have an identity. Oops, sorry. Just trying to here. So really it comes down to where the Canucks go from here. What I was going to do is try to find out games to be played by the Canucks for the Alright. Let me try this here. It doesn't seem to be working, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to go to sorry about this. I've been having some computer difficulties. Crashed a few minutes ago, and then alright, just trying to do this here. Alright, I'm just going to see where the schedule is. And no. It's not. It's a little bit too slow. Or is it? Just trying to do that. Alright, I'm going to try to speed things up here. I'm going to try to speed things up. Whoops. So yeah, when it comes to did Talkett expect the Canucks to turn into a completely different team? Well, it would have been unreasonable for the head coach to have done so. So now I'm going to go to the schedule. How many games the Canucks have left before the All-Star break. It's been quite a bit poor play of the month. Only 2 games. Wins against the Hawks and Avs. Canucks allowed fewer than 3 goals. And there's only 1 game left this month. And then we go to February, which is following the All-Star break. And a lot of time on the road. So yeah, the Canucks have work to do. And to anyone who claims that the Canucks don't need big changes, just need like a little bit of a retool here and there, say they need big ones. Have to see what happens. Because with Kuzmenko signed and not a lot of good contracts, it's going to be an interesting time. This offseason could be an interesting one. And it's also about drafting. And not just drafting first rounders. I mean it's important to have players drafted in not just in the first round who end up being NHL ready. Good teams know how to do that. And there's on the Stanley Cup winning Stanley Cup finalist Lightning, players drafted not just in the first round, but multiple rounds after that. And that's the whole point here. Good players drafted in each round. But again, Canucks have quite a ways to go before they get even close to a playoff spot. This season is probably a write-off. Maybe next season won't be. But again, it really depends on what changes are made. But again, it's just been kind of a lot of the same from the 2011-12 season onward. 2019-20 season being a major exception in terms of playoff success, while the Canucks end up winning 2 rounds, which beats the Leafs, what the Leafs have accomplished during the Cap era. But Canucks, since their last Stanley Cup appearance, have only won 2 playoff series. The Habs, since the Canucks last appeared in a Cup final, in 2020s, the Habs have ended up winning 4 playoff series, and one of those seasons was a Stanley Cup appearance. So yes, it's pretty good, pretty respectful for the Habs. Habs are rebuilding, but they're having fun. And I would say when it comes to Connor Bedard, I'd say Sens are a good candidate because of the lack of scoring. But again, the Canucks are played so badly that the Habs and Sens are ahead of them. And yes, definitely looking forward to watching the games. Just going to recap those that take place on this Thursday evening that feature Canadian teams. So it's going to start off with the Habs hosting the Wings. Broadcast starts 7 Eastern time on TSN, on one of the TSN channels. Sabres and Jets, same thing, on another TSN channel. Shows Sportsnet Now Premium, but I haven't gotten Sportsnet Now Premium. I don't know what it will bring, other than perhaps the American TV broadcasts of those games. And then we have, that's 8 Eastern time. Broadcast begins. Then the Flames hosting the Hawks. That's 9 Eastern time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. See how the Flames end up doing. I mean, just because the team is near the bottom of the standings does not mean that it'll just necessarily go away quietly. It may not know how to execute, but again, I'm sure players like to win. But again, the GM, but upper management of the Blackhawks, probably is looking to draft high because, team's not doing too good. But it's hard to know how that rebuild's going to go. But again, I haven't yet decided on which of the game between the Wings Habs and Sabres Jets games I'm going to watch. But when it comes to the Flames, I'm going to watch as much of that as I can. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this up and say, go Leafs go.